Now, let's go to St. Matthew's 13:31. Backing this down, St. Matthew 13:31. You can go back and read this for yourself. 13:31. This is the trick part. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it growed, it is the greatest among herbs, and become a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Okay, okay. Bring you to that part. Speak of the interpretation thereof. The kingdom of God, which I showed you all of these things, is the least among the whole earth. You take Gentiles, which is Russia, Gentiles, which is all up there in Germany and everything, all over the United States of America, all over the South America. When you compare it to the kingdom of God, what God preserved for himself, gave to the seed of Abraham, this is indeed is just like a mustard seed, is just like a small habitat upon this planet. It is just like the grain of a mustard seed, which was planted from the foundation of the earth, using Abraham and Sarah, and using the 12 tribe, but it became as a mustard seed which grew into a tree, a habitat which man would need that crude oil as a heartbeat to sustain the industrialized worlds of today. Until all the kingdoms, which is the other earth, will run out of crude oil and they will come and lodge up in this mustard seed and take refuge in you, all will become a people's with lies upon lies to gain control of this crude oil reserve, because this would be the last crude oil reserve in the world. Their technology would have driven them to a place of refuge where the heartbeat of the industrialized world, the infrastructure of that industrialized world, will depend upon the crude oil that God had placed here in his kingdom. Through their addiction to their craftsmanship, they created and manufactured through the way of technology, would have driven them in an addiction till they would have to take chances on fighting a God to sustain their stability in the earth. They would become an addiction as that young man which wanted to follow Jesus Christ but couldn't because of his addiction to his wealth. This is the way the United States is, and this is the way the world is today. They all will flock, they will all discard the meaning of the true meaning of love. They will sell their soul to the devil just to take up their last thirst and drink from a fountain which would become a curse to the world and cause their eternal destruction. God sent me here as a prophet to speak to the world today concerning this matter, and I must do as God commanded me to. Well, I got to get started on this part here about the kingdom of God. St. Matthew's 13:31, it said it was like a grain of mustard seed. So let me refer you back to Genesis 15. And I want to go from there because it's something that was did during the conquest which brought man to this point. See, as the world became established in these modern times, Jesus Christ, the Lord of the earth and God the Father, the God of the heavens and the earth, he set standards for me a long time ago, preparing the way. As is spoken of in Isaiah chapter 62, God placed a watchman. He placed me as a watchman over the earth to observe the things that was happening to the earth and how they came to be. In done so, he created a situation and told me to go through, explain these things to the daughters of Zion because of the technology, because of why these people went up into this tree. The first book of Genesis, when God created and made this earth with his own hands, it became a replica of the truth that we see here today. He counted and numbered each and every seed before they was placed in the earth. Then after God the Father placed him in the earth and created the habitats of the earth, and they began to grow into the earth, they became that evidence that God himself created these things. And God will not give his glory to any man, neither will he be tempted by man. Well, Satan the devil came through the way of these people, through the Gentiles, people that he claimed they didn't have no covenant with God, but they didn't know. God himself called this man a serpent. Jesus himself called him a serpent in St. Matthew. Well, you go on to look at what the Gentiles did. They went in as conquerors and they conquered the land of Saudi Arabia, United States of America, Africa. They divided these nations up into satraps and tributaries where they could take control and rule these nations with a rod of iron so they could cause these nations to depend upon them, taking away the meaning upon which God had prepared for them and commanded them to serve God only. The way he did this, he created a situation and placed everything under his rule, and he stood back and watched them as he had venomized them with his law called democracy. He sit back and watched them fail one nation at a time. Because he had divided these up into satraps and tributaries, they had no power because they were small groups. And if he go and one transgress against him, he go and use the other to beat him down. Well, you come to the United States of America. He spread his law of democracy. But they went in and they killed and slaughtered all the buffaloes and to domesticate and brought in domesticated his stock until to their stock. But what he didn't know was God had created and numbered the buffaloes from the foundation of the earth, and that seed that he cut off and left out there, the carcass to rot in the sun, that seed was cut off forever. There's no way you can bring a domesticated cattle in and replace the seed of the buffalo because God had counted it and numbered it from the beginning. You can never replace that. So this would be left unenhanced. This is what this